So today, on September 11, 2024, Queen decided to announce the much-awaited Queen 1 Collector's Edition box set. And that's awesome! Or is it? So hello everybody and welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. On today's video, I'll tell you about the much anticipated Queen box set and the pros and cons I found on it. Now this video, like every other video I make, is not going to be scripted, so I'm going to be all over the place for sure. But I hope to make some sense after all. Okay, so here's the scoop. For a while now, there had been rumors about the Queen 1 box set coming out. But, it was just rumors. I mean, there were little hints here and there, but nothing concrete. Until today, when Brian May actually went on Instagram and grabbed a cardboard box that looked roughly about the size of a box that would fit a box set or at least a lot of LPs in it, and he said, well, there's something in this box and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to wait till 2 p.m. on British time to tell you what's inside it, but I'm very excited. So of course, all of us Queen fans were going berserk, and we had a feeling that it might have been this, but we had no idea if it was going to be it or not. So anyway, come 2 p.m. in England, he actually showed us what was in there, and it looked awesome. Naturally, I was all hyped up and I was ready to go. I was ready to put it on my card. I went onto the Queen website and I found that this release is actually a lot of releases in one. Alright, so let me tell you about all the bundles that are going to be released on October 25th, 2024. Of course, you can pre-order today and get it then. I'm going to go through all of them and I'm going to tell you what it is that they include. Starting with the big boy. Okay, so number one and most expensive, we have the Queen 1 box set, picture disc, cassette, and 7-inch bundle. For the low price of $267.99 plus tax and shipping, you get 1 LP, a picture disc of the new 2024 mix of the original debut album Queen 1, of course, but with the addition of a song that they actually left out on their debut album. You also get 6 CDs. That's a lot of CDs. Where you get, of course, the new re-release and newly mixed 2024 mix of what they now call Queen 1. You also get a second CD, which is basically an EP with the 5 delay and lead demos, which I've talked about on this video. There's a third CD, which is pretty exciting, which is all about Queen sessions before the actual recording of the album. So that's pretty cool and rare. We actually get a peek of what they would have sounded like or in which way they were actually headed before actually recording the songs. So that's pretty cool. It's rare and we're probably not going to listen to it a lot, but for a collector, that's pretty awesome. Now, the fourth CD for me is just filler. It's backing tracks, and that's probably just going to be the same songs, just without the vocals, without, Freddie's voice. So I guess it's like a karaoke version. I mean, I could do without that. I'm probably never going to even listen to that if I had it. But here's where it starts to get a little iffy. Here on CD number 5 is where I start to wonder who really is the target audience for this box set. Because if it is a collector's edition and you've been a Queen fan and you've been a collector of Queen, then on CD 5 you just get the Queen 1 sessions recorded at the BBC, which if you're a collector of Queen, you already own on this guy here, or on Queen at the Bib, which is the same album released in the UK with, a different name. That's what they call the BBC there. If you don't have this, but you have this, you also have them here. So yeah, if I get that box set, I am going to have all 8 songs 3 times on 3 different albums. I mean, that's kind of lame, isn't it? And then on CD number 6, you actually get some live performances of these Queen songs, which were mostly taken from the 1974 Rainbow appearances, which again, if you're a Queen collector, then you already have them here, except for 4 other tracks that weren't released on anything else, so we'll give them that. But out of a CD, you only get 4 new tracks, and you have repeated songs. Now, something that actually is really cool about this bundle is the fact that you also get a 7-inch record of the song they decided to release as a single today, The Night Comes Down, which I will tell you about later in this video. And boy, do I have a hot take on it. But also, aside from that single, you actually get Queen 1 on cassette, which is pretty cool. But best of all, what I think is the icing on the cake, it's the 108 pages book they decided to include with this. It's supposed to have some really awesome photos we've never seen, a lot of pictures we have seen, and also a couple of photo prints and a fold-out poster, which is really cool. And something I am really looking forward to seeing is a lot of pictures of the handwritten lyrics. That's pretty awesome. Alright, so let's move on to the next bundles. This is obviously the one that has it all. This is the most important and most expensive release. But what I do like about this is the fact that they actually trim the fat on some of the stuff, so you can actually get less stuff for cheaper. It's not just the one release with, all the bells and whistles, and you have to fork out $267 or you get nothing. You actually do have some options. Second in line, you have the Queen 1 box set and picture disc. On this bundle, you get everything you would have gotten on the big boy, except You don't get the cassette and you don't get the 7-inch single. Other than that, you do get the picture disc and you get the 6 CDs and the book. And this one is being sold for $234.99. Okay, so the next option down the line is the Queen 1 Super Deluxe Edition box set. So for $194.99, you actually get pretty much the same things you got on the big boy, except you don't get the single, you don't get the 7-inch, you don't get the cassette, and you don't get a picture disc. You get a regular all black, probably vinyl LP. Other than that, you do get the 6 CDs and you get the book. Now, if you just want to get the vinyl, you can, and that's really cool. You can get it on picture disc or you can get it on a regular black vinyl. So the Queen 1 picture disc LP is going to set you back $41.99. But if you're not into that and you just want regular all black vinyl, which I love, you can get that for $35.99. But Pat, can you get the 7-inch single by itself? Yes, you can, and it's going to set you back $17.99. But what if I want both? I want the album and I want the single. You can get them as well. You can get the picture disc and the 7-inch single for $57.99. But now, if you're a CD guy like myself and you love your CDs and you want to be able to take them anywhere, you can also get that. You can get the Deluxe Edition 2 CD album for $25.99. And on that, you're actually getting the 2 CDs that matter the most to me. The actual album with the 2024 mix and also the Queen 1's Session CD, which is pretty cool. That's all the stuff they recorded during the recording sessions that didn't make the album. And if you want to mix it up or if you want to buy somebody a gift, you can definitely do so by getting the Deluxe 2 CD release and also the 7-inch single, which is pretty cool and definitely a collector's item. And that'll only set you back like $41.99. But of course, if you just want the CD with the 2024 mix, the new mix, you can get it for $15.99. And if you want to go old school or mix it up, you can get the cassette by itself for $16.99. Or if you bought any of the other bundles that didn't include it and you want to buy it later on, you still can, as long as they have stock. So yeah, big news, exciting news, except for the fact that they actually released the song The Night Comes Down as a single, and here's what I have to say about it. Now keep in mind, this album was recorded over 50 years ago. 50. That's ridiculous. The fact that we're actually listening to this today and that we are this excited about an album that was released 50 years ago, it's crazy. But it's true. I love the first Queen album. It's one of the heaviest albums they came up with. Very unique. It's very raw. It sounds heavy. It's progressive and it still sounds relevant today. But of course, the recording was not the best, and also the budget was very limited back then, especially for an up-and-coming band like Queen back in 1973. So yeah, one of the biggest things the band always complained about was the sound of the drums. Because of the fact that they had a very limited budget, the engineer and the production crew thought it would be best for them to record the drums very, very dry, very, very compact, and then be able to add reverb if needed later on, as opposed to what was the norm back then, which was recording a regular drum set with the room sound and natural reverb. So that resulted in them not having enough money to work on drums later on in the production, and basically just leaving the drums as is with very little work. So that in turn resulted in very thin sounding drums and very dry sounding drums. They didn't sound as huge as they had hoped. So here's the deal. As far as the new mix goes on The Night Comes Down, I can tell you for a fact that the guitars sound better. It sounds clearer, everything is a lot crisper and brighter, and there's a lot less floor noise. There's a lot less, ambient noise in this recording. So that's pretty cool. But I hate the snare sound on this thing. It just sounds way too overprocessed and MIDI-like. It's just like right up in your face, which is weird because on the original recording, it was actually panned to the right and it had a very soft and intimate sound. It just sounded warm and nice. I mean, the snare itself, the drums themselves, throughout the album could have sounded better, definitely. But on this particular song, it's a slow song. The snare actually kind of fit the mood of the song. And the last thing I'm going to complain, and I am going to complain about it with a passion, is the fact that they auto-tuned Freddie's voice once again. They did it on the song Face It Alone, and I actually prefer the pre-mixed, pre-worked on version of that, and I definitely prefer the original version on this thing. So to sum it up, and as I said before, I was really excited and I was ready to go in debt to buy this album. But to be honest, even though they actually added the Matt the Swine song, which was supposed to be a part of the Queen 1 album and never made it to the album, but if you're a Queen collector, you actually have it here on the Hollywood Records release. I gotta tell you, between the two, I think I'm gonna stick with this bad boy right here. The original pressing 1973 Queen album.